In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless alien civilizations had risen and fallen over billions of years. The current era was dominated by the Galactic Federation, an alliance of advanced species that prided itself on technological superiority and interstellar peace. At the heart of this cosmic order was the annual Galactic Weapons Expo, a grand showcase of cutting-edge military technology that doubled as a reminder of the Federation's overwhelming might. This year's expo was held on Nexus Prime, a bustling trade hub at the galaxy's core. Gleaming ships from 100 worlds crowded the planet's orbit, each bearing delegates eager to display their latest creations. Among them, barely noticed and largely dismissed, was a small vessel of crude design. Its hull was pocked with micrometeorite impacts, its engines sputtered and whined, and its crew compartment was laughably primitive by galactic standards. This was the Earth ship Defiant, carrying humanity's first delegation to the expo. Inside the ship's cramped bridge, Captain Sarah Chen gripped the controls with white-knucked determination. Beside her, weapons specialist Dr. Alex Rodriguez ran last-minute diagnostics on their precious cargo. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Malik Okafor coaxed every ounce of power from their cobbled-together warp drive. "Final approach, people," Sarah announced, her voice tense but steady. "Alex, how's our package?" Alex's fingers danced over holographic displays. "Green across the board, Cap. She's purring like a kitten." "A kitten that could tear a hole in space-time," Malik chimed in over the intercom, his usual jovial tone tinged with nervous energy. As the Defiant entered Nexus Prime's atmosphere, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They'd made it this far against all odds. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel a decade ago, stumbling onto the galactic stage like a newborn fawn. The Federation's reaction had been a mix of amusement and disdain. Humans were seen as quaint primitives, barely worth acknowledging. But Sarah and her crew knew better. They'd spent years preparing for this moment, pushing the boundaries of human science and engineering. In the Defiant's hold lay the fruit of their labors, a weapon that could change everything. The ship touched down on a landing pad far from the expo center, relegated to the fringes with other developing species. As Sarah powered down the engines, a delegation of Federation officials approached. Their leader, a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin, regarded the Earth ship with poorly concealed disgust. "Greetings, Terrans," the alien said, its translator rendering a perfectly neutral tone. "I am Zorax, Chief Coordinator of the Expo. We appreciate your enthusiasm in attending, but I must remind you that this event is for advanced civilizations only. Perhaps in a few centuries, you might have something worth showing." Sarah bit back a retort, forcing a diplomatic smile. "Thank you for the warm welcome, Coordinator Zorax. We understand your concerns, but we assure you, Earth has much to offer. We request the opportunity to demonstrate our technology." Zorax's multifaceted eyes blinked in what might have been surprise or amusement. "Very well. You may set up a small display in section 742B. It's near the refreshment area for the maintenance drones. Do try not to break anything." As the Federation officials glided away, Alex muttered under his breath, "Condescending pricks." "Easy, Doctor," Sarah cautioned, though she shared his sentiment. "Let them underestimate us. It'll make the reveal all the sweeter." The Earth team spent the next several hours setting up their unassuming booth, while other species unveiled massive holographic displays and brought in planet-sized warships. The humans quietly assembled what looked like an oversized cannon. Passers-by either ignored them completely or paused to chuckle at the quaint design. As the expo's opening ceremony concluded, Sarah took a deep breath and nodded to her teammates. It was time. "Attention, fellow delegates of the Galactic Weapons Expo," she announced, her voice amplified by the booth's modest speakers. A few nearby aliens turned, more out of annoyance than interest. "We, the representatives of Earth, humbly request a demonstration of our latest planetary defense technology." A ripple of laughter spread through the crowd. Zorax materialized near their booth, flanked by security drones. Come now, Terrans. There's no need to embarrass yourselves further. Why don't you observe the proper presentations and learn something? Sarah stood her ground, locking eyes with the alien coordinator. With all due respect, we insist on our right to demonstrate. Unless the Federation is afraid of a little competition from a primitive species. A hush fell over the nearby delegates. Zorax's skin rippled with indignation. Very well, the alien hissed. You may have your demonstration, but be warned. Attempting to fire an unregistered weapon on Nexus Prime is punishable by immediate vaporization. Understood, Sarah replied coolly. She turned to Alex and Malik. Gentlemen, if you would. As the crowd's attention focused on the Earth booth, Alex and Malik made a show of calibrating their cannon. Zorax dispatched a small drone to set up a standard target, a cube of ultradens material used to measure weapons' effectiveness. Whenever you're ready, Terrans, Zorax announced, voice dripping with sarcasm. Try not to strain yourselves operating that antique. Sarah allowed herself one last glance at her crew. Years of work, sacrifice, and unwavering belief had led to this moment. With a nod to Alex, she uttered a single word. Fire. The Defiant's railgun roared to life, its electromagnetic coils unleashing a fury that shook the very foundations of Nexus Prime. In the blink of an eye, a hypersonic projectile crossed the vast distance to the target. What happened next would be etched into the memory of every being present for generations to come. The indestructible cube, pride of Federation engineering, simply ceased to exist. In its place, a blinding flash of light heralded the birth of a miniature sun, as matter and antimatter annihilated each other in a display of raw power that defied comprehension. As the light faded and the stunned silence gave way to shocked murmurs, Sarah turned to the ashen-faced Zorax. With a smile that was equal parts pride and defiance, she asked, So, about that proper presentation you mentioned. Part 2. Shockwaves through the galaxy. The aftermath of the Earth delegation's demonstration was chaos. Aliens of all species crowded around the humble human booth, their previous disdain replaced by a mixture of fear, awe, and burning curiosity. Security drones buzzed overhead, their sensors struggling to comprehend the weapon that had just shattered every preconception about human capabilities. Zorax, the once haughty coordinator, stood slack-jawed before Sarah and her team. The alien's iridescent skin had taken on a sickly pallor, multifaceted eyes blinking rapidly, as if trying to erase what they'd just witnessed. That's impossible, Zorax stammered, translator struggling to convey the depth of shock in its voice. No kinetic weapon can. The energy requirements alone. Dr. Alex Rodriguez stepped forward, a hint of smugness in his tone. Not impossible, my friend. Just highly improbable. Until now. As the commotion grew, delegates from the galaxy's most powerful civilizations pushed their way to the front. Questions flew fast and furious. How did you achieve antimatter containment at those velocities? What's the reload time on a weapon of that magnitude? Are you willing to discuss trade agreements? Sarah raised her hands, calling for calm. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all designations, she began, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's newfound importance. What you've just witnessed is merely the beginning. Humanity stands ready to take its place among the stars, not as a primitive curiosity, but as equals. As she spoke, Malik noticed a group of stern-faced aliens in elaborate uniforms conferring urgently at the edge of the crowd. Their insignias marked them as high-ranking military officials from various Federation worlds. Their expressions ranged from concerned to outright hostile. Cap, Malik murmured, nudging Sarah. I think we might have rattled some pretty big cages. Before Sarah could respond, a new figure pushed through the throng. This alien was unlike any they'd seen before, a towering crystalline being that seemed to shimmer with internal energy. As it approached, the crowd parted instinctively, even Zorax backing away with a mixture of reverence and fear. I am Sandho, High Arbiter of the Galactic Federation, the crystalline entity announced, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Your demonstration has unsettled the natural order of our society. Sarah straightened, meeting the Arbiter's gaze steadily. High Arbiter, we meant no disrespect. Earth simply wishes to prove its worth and join the galactic community as a valued member. Sandho's faceted surface rippled, an alien expression impossible to read. Your weapon's power is undeniable, but power alone does not grant wisdom. The Federation has maintained peace for millennia by carefully controlling the flow of military technology. What assurance can you offer that humanity will not upset this delicate balance? The question hung in the air, charged with potential. Sarah felt the weight of her entire species resting on her next words. She took a deep breath, choosing her response carefully. High Arbiter, humanity's history is fraught with conflict, it's true. But it's also a history of overcoming differences, of reaching for the stars not to conquer, but to explore and understand. This weapon, she gestured to the railgun. It's not a tool of war, but a shield, a deterrent to ensure our voice is heard in a galaxy that was all too ready to dismiss us. Sandho seemed to consider this, its crystalline form pulsing with internal light. Pretty words, Captain, but actions speak louder. Your presence here has already caused ripples that cannot be undone. Several member species are calling for Earth's immediate quarantine, citing the danger your technology poses. Murmurs of agreement rose from some sections of the crowd, particularly among the military officials Malik had noticed earlier. But there were also voices of dissent, delegates clearly intrigued by the possibilities Earth's advancements represented. Alex stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding caution. High Arbiter, if I may, our railgun technology could revolutionize space travel, not just weaponry. The principles we've developed could lead to more efficient engines, new forms of energy production. We're not here to upset the balance, but to elevate everyone. As the debate raged around them, Sarah noticed something odd. A small group of aliens, their features obscured by hooded robes, were making their way purposefully towards the Earth ship. They moved with a synchronicity that set off alarm bells in her mind. Malik, she whispered, get back to the Defiant. Something's not right. But before Malik could move, a piercing alarm cut through the din of the expo. Red lights flashed across the vast hall, and a computerized voice boomed. Alert. Unauthorized weapons discharge, DETCTED. Initiating low-security protocols. Chaos erupted. Delegates scattered, security drones swarmed, and in the confusion, Sarah lost sight of the hooded figures. She turned to Sandho, whose crystalline form was now pulsing with angry red light. This wasn't us, she shouted over the alarm. High Arbiter, you have to believe me. But Sandho's next words froze her blood. Captain Chen, by the authority of the Galactic Federation, you and your crew are hereby under arrest. Your ship and technology are now impounded. Resist, and we will have no choice but to use lethal force. As Federation peacekeepers closed in from all sides, Sarah exchanged desperate looks with Alex and Malik. They had come to prove humanity's worth, to secure Earth's place among the stars. Instead, they found themselves on the brink of becoming the spark that could ignite a galactic war. With alarms blaring and weapons trained on them from all directions, the future of Earth, and perhaps the entire Federation, hung in the balance. And somewhere in the chaos, unseen forces were moving, their true motives yet to be revealed. The Expo Hall, once a showcase of galactic unity, now stood on the precipice of a conflict that could reshape the very fabric of interstellar civilization. And at the center of it all stood three humans, armed with nothing but their wits, their technology, and the unshakable spirit of their species. As the Federation forces closed in, Sarah clenched her fists, mind racing. This was far from over. Humanity had surprised the galaxy once today. It was time to do it again. Diplomacy under fire. The Expo Hall had devolved into pandemonium. Alarms blared, delegates scurried for safety, and the air thrummed with the electric whine of weapons powering up. Sarah, Alex, and Malik stood back to back, surrounded by a ring of Federation peacekeepers with weapons trained on them. "Any bright ideas?" Malik muttered, his eyes darting between the advancing forces. Sarah's mind raced. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but giving up wasn't an option. Earth's future in the galactic community hung in the balance. She took a deep breath, raised her hand slowly, and addressed the crystalline form of Xantho. "High Arbiter, I implore you to reconsider. We are not your enemies. Whatever happened here, we had no part in it." Xantho's facets pulsed with conflicting colors. "Your protestations of innocence are noted, Captain Chen. However, the fact remains that an unauthorized weapon was discharged, and your device is the most likely culprit." "With all due respect," Alex interjected, "our railgun hasn't been fired since the demonstration. It's simple physics. The energy signature would be unmistakable." A new voice cut through the tension. "He speaks the truth." All eyes turned to see Zorax pushing through the ring of peacekeepers. The coordinator's iridescent skin rippled with agitation, but there was a determined set to its alien features. "Our sensors confirm it," Zorax continued. "The energy signature of the recent discharge does not match the Terran weapon. It was something else entirely." Xantho's crystalline form shimmered with uncertainty. "If not the humans, then who? And to what purpose?" As if in answer, a massive explosion rocked the far end of the expo hall. Through the smoke and debris, shadowy figures emerged. The same hooded aliens Sarah had noticed earlier. They moved with inhuman speed and precision, cutting down Federation forces with advanced energy weapons. "We are the shadowclave." A voice boomed across the hall, amplified and distorted. "For too long, the Federation has stifled true progress. Today we claim the future." In the ensuing chaos, Sarah made a split-second decision. "High Arbiter," she shouted, "let us help. We can stop this." Xantho hesitated for a crucial moment, then nodded. "Very well, Terrans. Show us the true measure of humanity." With that, the standoff broken. Sarah, Alex, and Malik sprinted back to their booth, Federation forces now providing cover fire against the advancing shadowclave. "Malik, get that railgun operational," Sarah ordered. "Alex, we need tactical analysis. What are we dealing with?" As Malik worked feverishly to recalibrate their weapon, Alex's eyes widened in realization. "Cap, those aren't just advanced weapons. The way they're moving, I think they're cyborgs. Some kind of biomechanical fusion." Sarah processed this information quickly. "All right, adjust targeting parameters. Aim for their power sources, not vital organs." The shadowclave forces were pushing deeper into the expo, their goal becoming clear. They were headed for the most powerful weapons on display, intent on claiming them for their cause. "Ready to fire," Malik called out. Sarah took aim at the lead attacker. "On my mark. Fire." The railgun roared to life once more. This time, instead of a pure antimatter payload, it launched a specially designed electromagnetic pulse round. It struck the cyborg leader with pinpoint accuracy, sending out a wave of energy that short-circuited its systems. The figure collapsed, twitching. "Holy shit," Alex breathed. It worked. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. One down, about 50 to go. For the next frantic minutes, the expo hall became a battlefield. Federation forces rallied around the human team, their previous mistrust forgotten in the face of a common enemy. Sarah coordinated their efforts, using the railgun to take out key targets while Federation troops mopped up the rest. As the tide of battle turned, the remaining shadowclave forces began to retreat. Their leader's voice rang out once more. "This isn't over. The old order will fall, and a new age of power will rise." With that, they vanished, literally disappeared in flashes of light that spoke of technology far beyond even the Federation's understanding. In the aftermath, as medical teams tended to the wounded and security forces secured the area, Xantho approached the human team. The High Arbiter's crystalline form now pulsed with a calm blue light. "It seems we owe you an apology, Captain Chen," Xantho said. "And our gratitude. Your quick thinking and impressive technology may have saved countless lives today." Sarah nodded, exhausted but relieved. "We're just glad we could help, High Arbiter. But I fear this is only the beginning. Who were those attackers? What did they want?" Zorax joined them, looking shaken. "The shadowclave is a myth, a boogeyman story told to scare initiates in the Federation's science academies. They're said to be a group of renegade scientists obsessed with pushing the boundaries of technology, no matter the cost." "Well, they certainly seemed real enough today," Malik quipped, wiping grease from his hands. Xantho's form shimmered thoughtfully. "Indeed. And their appearance, coinciding with humanity's debut on the galactic stage, cannot be mere coincidence. Captain Chen, I believe we have much to discuss." As cleanup efforts began around them, Sarah realized that Earth's introduction to the galactic community had taken a turn none of them could have anticipated. They had come seeking acceptance and found themselves thrust into the middle of an ancient conflict. The future was uncertain, filled with both danger and opportunity. But one thing was clear: humanity had proven its worth today. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Earth would face them as a recognized power in the galaxy. Sarah squared her shoulders, ready to face whatever came next. "Indeed, High Arbiter. Let's talk about the future, not just of Earth, but of the entire Federation." As they walked towards a more secure area for discussions, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. Humanity had taken its first real steps into a larger universe, for better or worse, and she had a feeling their adventure was just beginning. Uneasy alliances. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. The Galactic Weapons Expo, once a showcase of military might, had transformed into a hive of diplomatic negotiations and strategic planning. At the center of it all sat the unlikely trio from Earth: Sarah, Alex, and Malik, now key players in a drama that spanned the stars. In a secure conference room deep within Nexus Prime's government complex, representatives from the Federation's most powerful species gathered. The atmosphere was tense, filled with suspicion and barely contained fear. The attack by the shadowclave had shaken the very foundations of galactic society. "We cannot ignore the timing of this incident," declared Krax, a reptilian delegate from the Saurian collective. His scales bristled with agitation. The humans arrive with their impossible weapon, and suddenly mythical terrorists appear. It stretches credibility. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Sarah felt the weight of 100 alien gazes upon her. She stood, her voice steady despite the pressure. "With all due respect, Ambassador Krax, if we were in league with the Shadowclave, why would we help defeat them? Our intentions are, and have always been, peaceful." Xantho's crystalline form pulsed with calming blue light. "Captain Chen speaks truly. The humans' actions during the attack were nothing short of heroic. We owe them a debt." "A debt," scoffed Krax. "They owe us answers. How did such a primitive species develop technology that rivals our greatest achievements?" Alex stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his nervousness. "If I may, the principle behind our railgun isn't new. Humanity has theorized about such weapons for over a century. What we lacked was a power source capable of generating the necessary electromagnetic fields. Our breakthrough came in the form of a new element we discovered on Mars. We call it promethium." A hush fell over the room. Zorax, who had been quietly observing, suddenly became animated. "Promethium? Impossible. That element is purely theoretical, a hypothetical substance of immense power." "Theoretical no longer," Malik chimed in with a grin. "We've got a whole asteroid belt full of the stuff back home." The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Delegates huddled together, whispering furiously. Sarah could practically see the calculations running through their alien minds. The strategic value of Earth had just increased exponentially. Dan, though, raised a crystalline appendage, calling for order. This changes matters significantly. Humanity's possession of promethium, combined with their demonstrated ingenuity, makes them a valuable potential ally against the shadowclave threat. Or a tempting target, growled Krax. If word of this promethium gets out, every pirate and warlord in the galaxy will be gunning for Earth. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. They had come seeking galactic recognition, but now it seemed they had painted a target on their home world. Then perhaps, she said slowly, choosing her words carefully, it's time we discussed a more formal arrangement. Earth seeks neither conquest nor subjugation. We want to be partners, equals in the galactic community. In exchange for sharing our promethium research, we ask for Federation protection and technology exchange. The room erupted into a cacophony of alien voices. Some supported the idea, seeing the potential benefits of human ingenuity. Others recoiled at the thought of elevating such a young species so quickly. As the debate raged, a quiet voice spoke up. It belonged to Zira, a representative of the enigmatic Aetheri, a species of energy beings rarely seen at such gatherings. We have watched from afar for eons. Zira's voice resonated, silencing the room. The cycle repeats. New races rise, old powers wane. But now, a wild card enters play. The ethereal's form shimmered, focusing on Sarah. Humanity's path is uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. Their choice now may shape the fate of us all. The weight of Zira's words hung heavy in the air. Sarah felt as though the entire galaxy was holding its breath, waiting for her response. We choose cooperation, she said firmly. Earth has no desire for galactic domination. We've seen firsthand the destructive potential of unchecked power. What we offer is a fresh perspective, a new approach to old problems. Together, we can face threats like the shadowclave and emerge stronger. Xando's crystalline form pulsed with approval. Well spoken, Captain Chen. I propose we put it to a vote. Shall we extend provisional membership in the Federation to Earth, with full technology exchange and mutual defense pacts? The vote was close, but in the end, the ayes had it. Earth would join the galactic community as a probationary member, its status to be reviewed in one standard galactic year. As the meeting adjourned, Sarah, Alex, and Malik found themselves surrounded by curious delegates, eager to learn more about humanity and its miraculous promethium. But amidst the excitement, Sarah couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had achieved their goal. Earth was now recognized as a player on the galactic stage. But at what cost? They had also painted a target on their home world, not just for the mysterious shadowclave, but for any faction that might covet promethium's power. As she shook hands, or tentacles, or energy tendrils, with her new alien allies, Sarah made a silent vow. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever threats emerged from the depths of space, she would ensure that humanity's first steps among the stars would not be its last. The galaxy had just become a much bigger, more dangerous, and infinitely more exciting place, and humanity was right in the middle of it all. Shadows and whispers. In the weeks following Earth's provisional acceptance into the Galactic Federation, the human delegation found themselves thrust into a whirlwind of activity. Sarah, Alex, and Malik were no longer just representatives of their planet. They had become the face of humanity to the entire galaxy. Their days were filled with briefings, technology exchanges, and cultural introductions. Nights were spent poring over data, trying to absorb millennia of galactic history and politics. It was exhilarating and exhausting in equal measure. One evening, as they sat in their assigned quarters aboard a Federation diplomatic vessel en route to Earth, Malik voiced the concern they'd all been feeling. "Does anyone else think this is going too smoothly?" he asked, looking up from a holographic display of alien propulsion systems. "I mean, 1 minute we're the galaxy's punching bag, the next we're the golden children. It doesn't add up." Alex nodded, his brow furrowed. I've been thinking the same thing. The scientific community is practically falling over itself to work with us on promethium research. But I can't shake the feeling we're missing something. Sarah leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. You're both right. We need to stay alert. This isn't just about scientific cooperation. We're in the big leagues now, and the stakes are higher than ever. As if on cue, their communication panel lit up with an incoming transmission. The holographic form of Zorax, their erstwhile expo coordinator turned liaison, flickered into view. Captain Chen. Zorax's voice was tense, its usually iridescent skin a muted gray. We have a situation. There's been an attack on one of our promethium research outposts. The shadowclave. They're back. Sarah's blood ran cold. Casualties. Minimal, thankfully. But they made off with a significant amount of research data. We believe they're trying to replicate your railgun technology. Alex swore under his breath. If they succeed with their level of cybernetic enhancement, it could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Sarah finished grimly. She turned back to Zorax's image. What do you need from us? The alien's form shimmered with what might have been relief. The High Council is convening an emergency session. Your presence is requested. Your expertise on both promethium and the railgun could be crucial. As they prepared for the meeting, Sarah couldn't shake a nagging feeling. Something about this whole situation felt off, like they were being maneuvered into position by unseen hands. The emergency council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast spherical room with hovering platforms for each delegation. At the center, a massive holographic display showed the attacked outpost, a space station orbiting a distant gas giant. Sandho's crystalline form dominated the proceedings, its facets pulsing with urgent light. The shadowclave threat has escalated beyond our worst fears. Their technological capabilities are advancing at an alarming rate. Krax, the Saurian representative, hissed in frustration. And we have the humans to thank for that. Their promethium has become the galaxy's most coveted resource. Before Sarah could protest, an unexpected ally spoke up. Zyra, the ethereal, its energy form shimmering with conviction. The humans did not create the shadowclave, nor did they force us to pursue promethium research. We must look beyond blame to solutions. Sarah nodded gratefully to Zyra before addressing the council. Earth stands ready to assist in any way we can, but we need to understand what we're up against. Who are the shadowclave, really, and why are they so interested in our technology? An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Finally, Sandho spoke, its voice heavy with reluctance. The truth is complex. The shadowclave was not always our enemy. Centuries ago, they were the Federation's most brilliant scientists and engineers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Murmurs of shock rippled through the human delegation. Malik leaned in, whispering, "Why do I get the feeling we're about to learn some dirty laundry?" Sandho continued, "Their experiments grew increasingly dangerous, threatening the stability of entire star systems. When the Council ordered them to cease, they refused. A schism formed, and the shadowclave went into self-imposed exile. We thought them gone, a cautionary tale for future generations. But now they're back," Alex finished, "with a vengeance and a shopping list of advanced tech." Sarah's mind raced, connecting dots. The promethium, the railgun. They're not just after weapons, are they? They're looking for a way to overcome their exile, to strike back at the Federation. Zorax nodded grimly. "We believe so. And with their cybernetic enhancements, combined with promethium-powered weapons, they could pose a threat unlike anything we've faced before." As the Council debated response strategies, Sarah found her attention drawn to Zyra. The ethereal seemed troubled, its energy form flickering in patterns that spoke of internal conflict. Taking a risk, Sarah approached Zyra's platform. "There's more to this story, isn't there?" she asked quietly. Zyra's form coalesced, focusing on Sarah. "Perceptive, young one. Yes, there is much left unsaid. The shadowclave's exile. It was not entirely of their own choosing, and the price of that decision echoes still, across centuries and light years. Before Sarah could press for more details, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The central hologram shifted, showing a massive fleet of ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the Nexus system. Shadowclave vessels. Cracks roared. How did they amass such a force without our knowledge? As chaos erupted in the council chamber, Sarah locked eyes with her team. Whatever political maneuvering and ancient secrets were at play, they had run out of time. The Shadowclave was here, and the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. With a determined nod to Alex and Malik, Sarah stepped forward. It was time for humanity to prove its worth as allies, to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. As the first shots of what promised to be an epic battle lit up the space around Nexus Prime, Sarah Chen prepared to lead her people into the fight of their lives. The galactic stage was set, and humanity's true test was about to begin. The battle for Nexus Prime. Alarms blared throughout the council chamber as the massive Shadowclave fleet loomed ever closer to Nexus Prime. The holographic display at the center of the room painted a grim picture. Hundreds of sleek, dark ships, their designs a twisted fusion of organic forms and sharp, aggressive lines. Sarah's mind raced, adrenaline coursing through her veins. This was it. Humanity's baptism by fire in galactic warfare. She turned to Xandho, her voice steady despite the chaos. High Arbiter, what are your defense capabilities? The crystalline being's facets pulsed with anxiety. Our planetary shields are formidable, but they were never designed to withstand an assault of this magnitude. We have a defense fleet, but they're scattered across the system on routine patrols. Then we need to buy time, Sarah declared. She locked eyes with Alex and Malik, the Defiant. It's time to show them what our primitive ship can really do. As if reading her mind, Malik grinned. You thinking what I'm thinking, Cap. It's crazy, but it just might work. Sarah nodded, then addressed the stunned council. We have a plan, but we'll need your cooperation. Can you get us to our ship? Xandho hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Do what you must, Captain Chen. The fate of Nexus Prime, perhaps the entire Federation, may rest in your hands. Minutes later, Sarah, Alex, and Malik were racing through the corridors of their small Earth vessel. The Defiant hummed to life around them, systems coming online as Malik worked his engineering magic. Talk to me, Alex, Sarah called out as she strapped herself into the pilot's seat. What are we dealing with? Alex's fingers flew over the sensor controls. I'm reading energy signatures unlike anything we've seen before. Their ships seem to be powered by some kind of, well, the closest analogy would be liquid promethium. It's off the charts, which means they'll be expecting us to hit them with everything we've got. Sarah mused. So we'll do the opposite. Malik, is our little surprise ready? The engineer's voice came back, tight with concentration. Just about, Cap. But I gotta warn you, we'll only get one shot at this. After that, we'll be running on fumes. Then we'd better make it count. Sarah opened a channel to the Federation fleet. This is Captain Chen of the Earth ship Defiant. We're moving to engage the enemy. Request cover fire and distraction maneuvers. There was a moment of stunned silence, then a chorus of affirmatives from various alien commanders. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They might think humans were crazy, but at least they were willing to follow their lead. The Defiant shot out of its docking bay, accelerating rapidly towards the incoming Shadowclave armada. Around them, the few Federation ships in the system formed up, launching volleys of energy weapons and missiles. They're not taking the bait, Alex reported, his eyes glued to the tactical display. The Shadowclave fleet is ignoring the other ships, heading straight for the planet. They must have some way of detecting promethium concentrations. Sarah gritted her teeth. Then we'll have to give them something they can't ignore. Malik, fire up the railgun. Full power. The ship shuddered as the massive weapon charged. On the view screen, Sarah could see the lead shadowclave vessels beginning to break formation, turning their attention to the lone Earth ship daring to challenge them. "Now!" Sarah yelled. The railgun fired, its electromagnetic coils unleashing a fury that caused the Defiant's hull to creak in protest. But instead of the devastating antimatter round they had used at the expo, this shot was different. As it streaked across space, it suddenly burst apart, releasing a cloud of swirling, glittering particles. "Promethium dust," Alex breathed, watching in awe as the cloud expanded, creating a massive, shimmering field between Nexus Prime and the Shadowclave fleet. The effect was immediate. The enemy ships swerved, their formation breaking as they were drawn to the irresistible lure of pure, weaponized promethium. But as they entered the dust cloud, their systems began to fluctuate wildly. "It's working," Malik shouted over the intercom. "The promethium dust is interfering with their liquid promethium power sources. They're losing control." Sarah allowed herself a moment of elation before snapping back to the task at hand. "Federation fleet, this is your window. Concentrate fire on the disrupted ships." The space around Nexus Prime erupted into a frenzy of weapons fire. Federation ships, emboldened by the Defiant's gambit, pressed their attack. Shadowclave vessels, their once superior technology now working against them, fell one by one. But the victory was short-lived. A massive ship, easily twice the size of any other in the Shadowclave fleet, pushed through the promethium cloud. Its hull seemed to absorb the dust, growing stronger rather than weaker. Cap." Malik's voice was tight with worry. "We've got a problem. That big ship, it's not just using promethium. It's adapting to it, and it's headed straight for us." Sarah watched as the behemoth bore down on them, its weapon systems charging. They had turned the tide of the battle, but at what cost? The Defiant, its one trump card played, was now a sitting duck. As alarms blared and the crew braced for impact, Sarah's mind raced. They had come so far, prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. It couldn't end like this. Just as the Shadowclave flagship opened fire, a blinding light filled the Defiant's view screen. Sarah squinted, trying to make out what was happening. When her vision cleared, she gasped. Floating between them and certain destruction was Zyra, the ethereal delegate. But not as they had seen her before. Now Zyra's energy form had expanded to an impossible size, creating a shield of pure radiance that absorbed the enemy's attack. The cycle breaks. Zyra's voice resonated through space itself. "The mistakes of the past need not define the future. Humanity has shown us a new way, not through power alone, but through ingenuity and cooperation." As Zyra spoke, more ethereals appeared, their combined energy pushing back against the Shadowclave flagship. The massive ship's hull began to buckle under the assault of pure cosmic energy. Sarah watched in awe as the tide of battle shifted once again. But even as victory seemed within reach, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The Shadowclave had been driven back, but not defeated, and the revelations about their true nature and the Federation's role in their exile raised more questions than answers. As the remnants of the enemy fleet retreated into the depths of space, Sarah knew that humanity's adventure in the galaxy was far from over. They had proven themselves as allies, but the real challenges and the true secrets of the cosmos were yet to be unveiled. The battle for Nexus Prime was won, but the war for the future of the galaxy had only just begun. A new dawn. As the last of the Shadowclave ships vanished into the inky blackness of space, an eerie calm settled over the Nexus system. The Defiant hung in space, battered but unbroken, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Sarah, Alex, and Malik stood on the bridge, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of emergency lighting, watching as the ethereal beings slowly coalesced back into their singular forms. Zyra's voice echoed through the ship's comm system, tinged with both wariness and hope. "You have done well, humans. Your actions today have set in motion changes that will ripple across the galaxy for eons to come." Sarah straightened, her voice hoarse but resolute. "We appreciate your help, Zyra. But I can't shake the feeling that there's still so much we don't understand. The shadowclave, their connection to the Federation, your people's involvement. What's really going on here?" There was a pause, heavy with unspoken truths. Finally, Zura spoke again. "You are right to question, Captain Chen. The time for half-truths and hidden agendas has passed. If we are to face the challenges ahead, we must do so with open eyes and united purpose." Over the next few hours, as rescue operations commenced and the Federation began to assess the damage, a remarkable council convened aboard the Defiant. Zera and Santho joined the human crew, along with representatives from other key species. There, in the humble confines of Earth's first interstellar vessel, the true history of the galaxy began to unfold. Xantho's crystalline form pulsed with shame as it recounted the full story of the shadowclave. They were not merely exiled for dangerous experiments, the High Arbiter admitted. They discovered something that threatened the very foundations of our society, a truth about the nature of our universe and our place in it. Zyra's energy form shimmered. The shadowclave learned that the galaxy, perhaps the entire universe, operates on cycles. Civilizations rise and fall, not by chance, but by design. We, the Aetherials, have been the silent watchers, the caretakers of this cosmic rhythm. Alex leaned forward, his scientific curiosity piqued. "Are you saying that you, what? Engineer the rise and fall of entire species?" "Not engineer," Zyra corrected gently. "Guide, nurture, and when necessary, prune. It is a heavy responsibility, one we have carried for billions of years." Malik shook his head in disbelief. "But why? What's the point of all this cosmic gardening?" Santho answered, its voice heavy with the weight of forbidden knowledge. "Balance. The universe itself is alive, in a sense. The ebb and flow of civilizations, the dance of creation and destruction. It all feeds into a greater cosmic harmony. The Shadowclave believed this system was flawed, that with the right technology, like your promethium, they could break the cycle and ascend to a higher plane of existence." Sarah absorbed this information, her mind reeling with the implications, and that's why they're so interested in our technology. They see it as a key to breaking out of this cosmic loop. Zyra's form pulsed in affirmation. "Yes, but in their pursuit of transcendence, they risk unraveling the very fabric of reality. The damage they could cause is incalculable." A heavy silence fell over the gathering. Finally, Sarah spoke, her voice filled with determination. "So where does that leave us? Where does humanity fit into all this?" Zyra's energy form seemed to smile, though it had no discernible face. "You, humans, are something new. A variable we did not anticipate. Your arrival on the galactic stage, your unique approach to problems. You represent a potential shift in the cosmic equation." Xantho nodded, its crystalline facets reflecting the starlight streaming through the Defiant's viewports. "Your actions today have proven that there may be a middle path. Neither blind acceptance of the cycle nor reckless pursuit of transcendence, but a collaborative effort to guide our collective destiny." As the implications of this revelation sank in, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Humanity had come seeking its place among the stars, and instead found itself at the crux of a cosmic dilemma. "So what happens now?" she asked, looking around at the assembled beings, each representing millions of years of evolution and history. Zyra's form expanded slightly, encompassing them all in a gentle glow. "Now we forge a new path together. A shadowclave will return, of that we can be certain. But perhaps with human ingenuity, Federation resources, and aetherial guidance, we can find a way to address their concerns without risking the stability of the universe." Alex grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "A galactic think tank, working to solve the ultimate question of existence. Count me in." Malik nodded, already mentally sketching out engineering problems. "If we can harness promethium safely, Combine it with Federation tech and whatever cosmic mojo the ethereals bring to the table. The possibilities are endless. Sarah looked out at the stars, a mix of emotions swirling within her. They had come so far, learned so much, and yet this felt like only the beginning. "Well," she said, a smile tugging at her lips, "I guess humanity's first steps into the galaxy are going to be a bit more interesting than we anticipated." As the council continued to discuss plans and strategies, Sarah couldn't help but feel a surge of pride and anticipation. Humanity had proven itself not just through its technology or its bravery, but through its ability to bring people, beings, together to find common ground in the face of cosmic challenges. The future was uncertain, filled with dangers and wonders beyond imagination. But as Sarah looked at her crew, at the alien allies they had made, she knew that whatever came next, they would face it together. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subservient newcomers, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, shaping the destiny of the galaxy itself. As the Defiant began its journey back to Earth, carrying news of their incredible adventure and the monumental task that lay ahead, Sarah Chen allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. They had set out to prove humanity's worth with a powerful weapon. In the end, their greatest contribution had been something far more valuable: hope for a new way forward, a chance to break free from ancient cycles and forge a future limited only by their collective imagination. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as the ship accelerated, carrying with it the promise of a new dawn for all sentient beings. The battle for Nexus Prime was over, but the quest to unlock the true potential of life in the cosmos had only just begun.